All right, race fans, we are back. Another action-packed, drama-filled racing weekend this past weekend. We're going to bring you episode number 278 of the One to Go show. As always, your host, Ryan Aho. And along with us, we got former crew chief of a national championship team, track champion up at the Proctor Speedway. We got Changa in the house. How's Changa doing? How are you holding up? How's Mama doing? Is she getting on the mend there? How's things going up in Superior?
Yeah. Well, we had her 2-week doctor appointment today. I mean, everything's going well. She just, can't do any weight bearing on her leg for another 4 weeks. So it's just slow going. Everything's going according to plan. Just not ideal. Start a hockey season tomorrow where we're going to get even more busy. So.
Well, that's got to be tough, right, Bert? Because, I mean, the last I knew, she's literally been carrying Changa's sorry ass for years, and now she can't put any weight on her knee. Boy, that household's got to be in shambles right now.
That's just that's not even nice.
Oh, you talk big when she's not in the room. Okay, all right, you talk big.
She listens to the show.
Yeah, we know who's in charge over there. We get it. Yeah, and then we have former tear-off extraordinaire for the MJ McBride ride, former editor of the Full Throttle magazine. How is Bert Lehman doing?
I'm doing good. Had today off, so I was running errands all day, so I'm a little ragged.
Bert, have you talked to Troy Springborn this week?
I have not.
He did not. I think his fun meter was pegged in Ashland. He had a rough go of it, for sure. He had a rough go. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. But before we get into it, we're going to start with
I heard about that.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
He had posted,
he had a good car.
He had posted about it.
Yeah, for sure. So first, before we get into the show here, shout out Impact Health Sharing. So if you pay for your own health insurance, whether you're a family, maybe you're just single, maybe you're a couple, maybe you have a small business with a handful of employees, whatever it may be, if you pay for your own health insurance every month and you feel like, man, I'm paying too much money, deductibles are too high, maybe I'd like to go to a different doctor, but they're not in network, I might have a solution for you. That solution is called Impact Health Sharing. It's been a great product, primarily for people that are in good health. If you got any major medical in the last 3 years, probably not the best fit for you. But if you got nothing major going on, pretty clean bill of health, and you're paying too much money, this could be a very good fit. People paying under, right around $600, $650 a month for a family, very affordable deductibles, and you can go to any provider in the country and up in Canada as well. But obviously, if you're Canadian, you have your own health insurance up there. But if you're an American that's traveling up there, something happens, Impact will take care of you up there too, which is pretty cool. So reach out to me, text me, Facebook me, however you want to get a hold of me, 218-969-1380. I can get you a quick, no obligation quote, and I can send you the information you need to make an informed decision to see if this can help you out. That's Impact Health Sharing. So the big one this past week, guys, and we're all excited for it, 50th annual Red Clay Classic up at the ABC Raceway, Ashland, Wisconsin. I was able to make the trip up there. I got up there on Thursday. I was there Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I got up early enough, guys, to watch a football game in my truck on Sunday. I regret not just sleeping in. That was not really worth my time doing that. But had a hell of a good time up there. Just a lot to take away, a lot to kind of pack into that event. And of course, Changa, you were going to make the trip, and you had to take care of the household there. Obviously, that's important. We couldn't get Bert off his couch. I was hoping Bert come hang out with me. He just don't love me anymore. My feelings kind of hurt. Ben Brost, right, from the Built to Media podcast, he said, my feelings are hurt. My feelings are hurt. We did a show together. We actually did a couple there. Uper was there. What do you got, Changa?
Incidentally, I said I wanted you to call me, patch me in for some of these shows. Did you ever call? Not a once.
We weren't on Zoom. He had a different platform that he used, and I know how technologically not advanced you were, so that was not going to be your forte.
Home with the wife, though. She's got some skills.
She probably does. That's probably true. So it all started out Thursday night. Got into town, and went over to the neighborly bar in Ashland, and I got a little history on that. So Bert, you've
Wait a
heard
minute.
of.
How did you get to the neighborly bar?
We'll get to that. That's a good
Alright.
question. That's a
Alright.
good question. So so a little history on that. Bert, you heard of the bridesmaid deal, right? That at the Red Clay
Yes.
Classic. So Kevin Eater started that. So tip of the cap, Kevin Eater. Hell of a weekend for Kevin Eater for sure, but a hell of a postseason actually for him. But he started that deal a number of years ago, and in fact, he kind of got together and they raised some money. I think he actually even put some of his own money in to start paying for the driver entry fees, the drop fees, a handful of years back. And since then, they've really went above and beyond. They've solidified sponsors, and it's one of those big invitationals that pays good. You don't pay drop fees, which is super cool. But they raised a ton of money. I think the second place driver in each class got an additional, I think, $1,250. So that's a nice little chunk of change on top of an already impressive purse. And so Bert, I'm over at the campground, and on the way up there in my Halbert truck, on my way up to Superior, I had to deliver there. Then I went to Ashland. I get a text message. It's the tech man for WISSOTA, Justin Pagonis, right? And he said, holy shit, I just passed the 71A. I'm like, holy shit, your deck height looks too high. Probably call DOT and have you pulled over. And so he ended up camping not too far away, and him and I took a taxi over there together. And people are like, wait a second, Ryan from the One to Go show's riding here with Justin Pagonis, the tech guy for WISSOTA? Holy shit. Didn't kill each other. We actually bullshitted quite a bit over the weekend. My job was a hell of a lot easier than his. Let's just put it that way. He had a rough weekend as far as, some of the stuff he had to deal with that we will definitely get into. That's kind of the big storyline coming out of Ashland. But saw a lot of people over there. And Bert.
Well, I just want to say, I mean, when we're critical of WISSOTA, it doesn't mean we hate WISSOTA. We don't hate the people that run WISSOTA, and you just proved that this past weekend. We say this stuff to try to make things better, and you have to have conversations like apparently you had this last weekend. So it's all good.
Absolutely. And I talked to some WISSOTA board members. I saw the former executive director, Rod Lindquist there. I bullshitted with him for an hour up there. Gus Olmanson, believe this or not, I will get proof of this. I'll get it from Brandy. Gus Olmanson, WISSOTA board member, got his picture taken in front of the One to Go show banner. So that was pretty cool, right? WISSOTA board member right there. So a little collaboration there.
One to Go show banner? Did you come and get it from here?
No, Ben built had a banner made that had Built to Media and the One to Go show logos on it. So it was both of our banners, but yeah, pretty cool deal. So shout out to Kevin Eater, Neighborly Bar. Hell of a deal on Thursday night. Record car count up there. 236 cars is the most they've ever had at the Red Clay Classic. 260 cars, absolutely jam-packed. I mean, the campground was full. The neighbor's field was absolutely full. The pits were stacked. I mean, the energy was very high at the Red Clay. But then they let the internet kind of determine some things. They have a rich tradition of kind of doing it their way. You draw for position in the heat. Then they would always redraw the winners together, the second place together. And literally a couple days before, a lot of people were chirping on the internet, and they decide, hey, we're gonna listen to them, and we're gonna give them what they want, and we're gonna do the time trials for the late models, which I don't know. I get it. As a driver, I'd rather have time trials because I suck at drawing, so I get it. But it added a little time to the show. It is what it is. I think it worked out. Then they inverted 3, and obviously somebody's going to be upset about that, right? So I had a bunch of messages about that. I think all in all, though, the racing, honestly, on Friday night was fantastic. The heat races were good. There's a couple races, maybe it got a little narrow, but if you took the bulk of them on Friday night, the track had multiple lanes. The racing was pretty good on Friday night in the heats. Chonga's blurry. It's like you got the tape over your camera again. It's holding your phone on. I'm not really sure. But Bert, do you see that?
Look blurry to you?
Is he pretty blurry?
He's a little blurry, yeah.
And probably more the glare on his glasses, maybe.
Well, here, let me shut the light off. Let me see if that makes it any better.
Just like me, you look way better in the dark. Way better in the dark. So yeah, got to bullshit with Tom Nesbitt for a good hour up there. That was fantastic. That is way better, by the way. That is definitely better. Got to BS with Tom Nesbitt. Obviously Hall of Famer. I think he's a 5-time Red Clay Classic champion. So got to visit with him. That was super cool. But Friday night, the story of the night, I think, was DQs. A lot of DQs Friday night. And the big thing was frame height on the modifieds and on the Midwest modifieds. Now, I got a real problem with this. They started this at the WISSOTA 100, and they, not like they hadn't measured it all year, but you really hadn't heard all year long about frame height DQs, right? It's pretty much been deck height DQs. So Chong is more familiar with this. Bert, I'll explain it to you. When you look at a modified, you look at the frame, the front frame, right? You know where it kind of comes and it kicks out and the rails go along the side of the door? You know what I'm talking about on the front stub? So there's a, back in the day, I mean, not real long ago, but 10, 12, 15 years ago, what people were doing is they were notching that right rail and they were tipping up that right side so the cars could rock over on the right front. Huge advantage. Gives you a lot more roll on the right front, gives you more steer, gives you more traction. It just, everything about it makes the car totally different. And I already believe, I think there's already too much traction in these cars. So we don't need to have more. So they have, that's the limiting factor. Okay. So they have a rule. They measure 7 1/4 inches to the bottom of the frame on the right side. Okay. Now, the problem is that rule was designed by IMCA and USRA that have shorter tires for one. So that number should automatically be higher. Okay. But the other problem is this. You're measuring to the ground. So many variables. You put a taller tire on, you put a turn in the right front. That 7 1/4 is a minimum or a maximum, excuse me. That's a maximum measurement. It cannot be higher than that. Okay. Well, if your left rear tire is low, the right front goes up. If you take left rear out of the car, the right front's going to go up. If you put a turn in the right front, there's so many variables there, right? That it's like unnecessary. The intent is to make sure they're not tipping that right side rail up. Therefore, they should 1000% have a jig made off fixed points of the frame that lays out somehow, right? And then measure it based on the actual frame itself to make sure you're not manipulating that. They don't do that. They just have a static measurement to the ground. And quite honestly, I talked to a lot of drivers. They're like, well, holy shit, I had no idea that was even a rule. I raced modifieds 5-6 years. That never got measured. That was never right. It may have been. I never heard of that rule in my entire life until literally just a handful of weeks ago. So a lot of people were super pissed off about that.
Well, and then I think you and I talked about it, and maybe you want to touch on it. It was also that rule wasn't it created for one individual stub, and isn't there some cars or chassis built with different kinds of stubs nowadays?
I'm hearing different things there. So some people were referencing that they measured to a hole, but I clarified with Justin Pagonis that they measure to the bottom of the frame, so that hole is more of a reference to where on the frame they actually measure it. So I think that maybe when I was talking to you, I believe I had some misinformation on that. It sounds like they're actually measuring to the bottom of the frame. So that sounds like it might not be exactly how I thought it was when I first talked to you. But regardless of the fact, the intent of the rule is fantastic. Make sure they're not tipping up that right side rail. The way that they measure it, much like the deck height rule, we don't need a static deck height rule. That makes no sense. Nobody races around the car at ride height. Measure that in droop where they're actually racing, and now you're going to be onto something. So just a few things there that WISSOTA moving forward, right, for the 2026 season should probably take a little closer look at and see if maybe they can get together with the chassis builders, talk to the people that know, talk to experienced racers, and see if there's a better way of actually measuring these things, because the intent on both of these deals, I believe, is good. But how they're doing it is not good. So ultimately they got to fix that. Couple funny things there. Night number one. So, Changa, did you watch the heats at all?
I was in and out watching, I watched bits and pieces of all of them probably.
So I don't want to say funny. They don't think it's funny, right? But Timmy Johnson was a missile up in Thunder Bay the week before, right? He won. He was one of my studs the week before. You can only be a stud if you tighten your fuel cap.
Oh no.
The only way. It's the only way. Right? It's the only way. It's almost like leaving lug nuts off, right? They left the fuel cap off or loose or whatever and never even got to really run the heat race. So
no.
Probably a good deal for a lot of the super stock guys that one of the top drivers didn't get to race. Jordan Hinkemeyer, Dordo. So he's got a kill switch next to him. He's got how you put the switches on the dash so you don't hit it? Yeah. Somehow or another, he's leading the heat race, hits the kill switch with his elbow, shuts the car off leading. And somehow when he was leading, he had the tire just turned to the left. And I don't know what happened first, but he clipped the tractor tire, screwed up the left front, broke a brake line, shut the car off. I'm like, he easily was going to win that heat. Bummer for Jordo. Eric Olson, I talked to him and he's like, I suppose I'm getting a fucking donkey award. He ran over not one tire, not two tires, but 3 tires in one lap. Jeff Krause, okay, top that next year, right? We give Krause, he literally ran over a tractor tire in the middle of 3 and 4, and I think it folded his nose up, and he monster trucked the next one. He made it down to the end of the front straightaway, and he monster trucked another one. And I saw him that night. He just shook his head. He's like that was ridiculous. So a few things there. Eastern Wisconsin guy for Troy Springborn, brand new car, makes it over to the Red Clay Classic.
I did see that heat. I did watch that heat.
Dominated, gone, didn't even get challenged. Right, he would have been starting right up front in the 50th annual Red Clay Classic. No mufflers. That's number one. No driver's gloves, which is weird all by itself. I don't know why he didn't have driver's gloves on. And then there's a body skew measurement that's kind of
really,
too complicated for me to explain. Bert's got a funny look on his face and he's frozen.
He's locked up on my screen.
I'm gonna go ahead.
I
screenshotted it at the wrong time. I wanted.
Oh shit! That would have been awesome.
But I wanted that. That was good. Yeah, he had no gloves on, no mufflers, and there's a body skew measurement that essentially, how the right side of the body is dished, where the doors are all moved over to kind of catch air. It was off by an inch. That must be a open rule. I'm not really sure. I thought that the WISSOTA late model body rules and Lucas and World of Outlaw were all the same. They must not be. I'm not really sure, but so he got DQ'd on 3 different things in the heat. Tough break for him. He said, "Screw it," went home.
Is he like, I never liked wearing gloves, but I never raced a late model, right, where rocks are coming at you twice as fast. But I mean, when did you have to have gloves become a rule?
It's been recent, but it's been a rule everywhere.
Huh. Yeah, he's probably one of them old timers that just never wore them.
Well, Troy Springborn is an old timer. There's no question about that. So he's one of the old timers. But that's a bummer for him. I mean, I actually did talk to Pogo after that. And he said if it would have just been gloves, whatever, I would have, whatever. I would have just said put some gloves on for the feature. But it ended up being 3 different things. And he's like, well, at that point, you kind of got to do what you got to do, right? So, but overall, did a podcast up there with Ben. That was a hell of a lot of fun. Then we get into features, right? Friday night was a hell of a good time. Probably stayed up way too late, right? I haven't seen Chad and Clint for quite a while. They were there, and just Jeff was there, and Pete Nisko was there. There were so many people. I visited with the Bishop clan and his brother. I think it's Doug. So I visited with so many people, and to me, as somebody that's not racing anymore, the racing secondary. I mean, I saw so many people that I just don't see anymore. So that alone was worth the trip for me. But I had a lot of people messaging me, and it's hard to be super critical of the ABC Raceway because they did such a bang up job putting that money together, that purse together, and the atmosphere. they did so many things right. But then when the track prep fail, hindsight is 2020, right? I mean, you know, we can all look back and well, it's easy to kind of criticize and whatever, but they really didn't do much or anything to the track between Friday night and Saturday. So they just kind of, it got black by the end of Friday night. And then Saturday they start at 4, the track's rock hard. And I mean, it's lap 1, the track's blowing dust, it's blowing dry. And I mean, they had B mains for all 4 classes. And halfway through the B mains, we got rubber on the bottom, you know, and we're not even into the features yet, right? So that was a tough deal. It was so bad. I mean, people looked at it. I talked to Budislavich camp and they're like, nah, we're leaving it in the trailer. We're not even unloading because we start pretty far back. I mean, you got G.O.A.T not making the show and Demel not making the show, right? And you look at these guys and they're like, you know, let's face it, with that many cars, good cars are not going to make the feature. It just is what it is. But nobody really had a shot. I mean, if you started back off the second, third row of the B main, it was 1 lane on the bottom. You weren't going to go anywhere. So then they farmed the track, which, I mean, by that point it's gone. So they scratched it and they might have put a little mist down and they decided they wanted to do something special. And I get it. I know what they were trying to do. And they're like, hey, we want to get all the cars on the track and do a driver's introduction with all the classes out there and kind of have a parade of champions. They kind of wanted to do something cool for the 50th. I get what their intent was. It ended up being just a kind of a debacle, so to speak. It didn't work out well. By 2 hours later, Bert, the track's bone dry. All the moisture is gone. Go ahead.
Well, regarding the driver introductions, I was watching the stream and they made the call to, they wanted all the cars to come onto the track. So it's like, okay, well, I'm not gonna watch now. I'll go watch some other stuff. So I watched a heat or 2 of the Lucas series, of the Lucas heat races, watched an inning or so of the Brewer game. I went back to Ashland and they had like half the cars lined up.
It was a bad deal. It was a bad deal. And you know, I love out of car introductions. Personally, I love one class at a time, bring them out before their feature, introduce them, go race. It didn't work out, right? And again, hard to be super critical because it's by far the best paying show, but it ended up making, that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part is when they went green in the Midwest Mod feature, they come out of turn 4 and you would have swore to God you're in the Sahara Desert because the dust was so high that by the time the leaders went from turn 4 to turn 1, you couldn't see the infield. It was a bad deal. It was bad. And they hollered red, 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 yellow, yellow, whatever they did over the headset, and everybody stopped and they pulled the cars into the infield and they went out and misted the track and kind of blew it off, and it ended up being cleaned off after that. But oof, I mean, the crowd was just in an uproar. It's like, oh my God. I mean, people were chirping, and I bet you I got at least 50 messages. You got to give a donkey award and all that. It's just hard to do when they put on such a dang good show. It's just that got away from them, and it's unfortunate. But then most of the features ended up being pretty decent. The late model feature was ass. That was not good. That was bad. But we'll jump into the features, right? Tyler Vernon parks it in victory lane and extends the national point lead in the Midwest Mods with just a couple shows to go. 4-point lead for the 41. He drew good in the heat. Joey did not. That's a tough deal. I mean, we know. I mean, you get to an invitational, that drop bucket can be either your worst enemy or your best friend. It just is what it is. And it was not Joey's best friend. Unfortunate for him. It would have been super nice to see them both start in the front row. That would have been great. Didn't work out that way. Good battle there for second at the end. Jake Smith nipping it for second. And I think Savoy kind of made a run there. David Swearingen was quick as well, but Jake Smith getting second place and the bridesmaids. So even though he didn't win, he just keeps on cashing big checks.
Money.
Yeah, day money right there. But Tyler Vernon, one of the drivers, right? One of the drivers that was a local kid that grew up going to the racetrack in Ashland, and you know, that's your hometown invitational, right? For these traditional invitationals, to win that one's big. To win that one's big. And he got that one done. So congrats, Tyler Vernon, on that. But the story of the week, Steve Stewart snake bit at the tech shed. Man, I feel for the kid. I really like Steve Stewart, and I can tell you right now. So Steve Stewart wins the Super Stock feature, guys, from the 8th row. Okay, from the 8th row. Hell of a run. Track was dry. Motor had nothing to do with it, right? I mean, he was just good. And he don't know shit about motors. He's a freaking driver and he maintenance guy, and he don't own the car. And he was so freaking emotional when he won that race, because they've been going there forever. Dad was flag guy. He's like, man, I remember falling asleep there on the bench, and just the raw. I mean, Bert, let's face it, right? When you watch people in victory lane, how many times have we seen like just a little wave, like, oh, I've done this a million times? There's nothing better than that raw emotion down there. Vernon had it. Steve Stewart had it. I mean, he was half teared up down there in victory lane.
They all did.
Yeah. Eater was too, right? Yeah, Daryl did too. They were all, yeah, you're right. They all did. All 4 of them did. You're spot on there. But prior to the feature, Kurt Myers, you know, he had announced that, hey, this is my last race. I'm done. I'm retiring. I'm going to help the kid. I'm going to do my TRC by Myers deal. He's going to do all that, but he's going to retire after a very accomplished career that he's had behind the wheel. And he decided that I am going to put the $300 up, and whoever wins, whether it's me or whoever it may be.
Wouldn't that have been funny?
That would have been great, right? Whoever it is, whoever wins, to the tech shed they go. Now, I tried researching this, and I haven't been able to find anything as of yet, but the first time in the history of WISSOTA racing where I've seen that you can actually just choose, like, I'm tearing down a specific position, was the Little Dream. That's the only time that I've ever seen it happen. It's always been that I'm going to tear down such and such a driver. Had to be a named driver. I don't know where that's changed. I don't know. I mean, curious on that. I'm curious on that. But nonetheless, he goes to the tech shed, and yeah, it's something on that cylinder heads, and I'm not going to get into all the specifics of it. I believe that WISSOTA is going to put some pictures out or a video out, kind of saying like, hey, this is what to look for here. But needless to say, it wasn't porting and polishing. It wasn't that. But it was, they milled the heads really, really far. And it was something to do with the valve seat on the intake side. Something along those lines, right? There's more specifics to that, but I'm not going to pretend to be a tech guy or an engine builder on here. Needless to say, they deem him illegal at the tech shed. However, they said, look, we don't want to DQ a guy and not cross our T's and dot our I's. We're going to bring this back to WISSOTA, which the head of WISSOTA teching right now was Tom Wagaman and Todd Good. Tom more so on the engine side, of course, because, you know, Wagaman's built a lot of engines. And they said, we're going to bring that down to Wagaman's, and we're going to have them take a really close look at this, because if for whatever reason we can find a way to be like, look, this is not illegal. They wanted to make dang sure, which I got to tip my cap. I mean, I honestly, I talked to WISSOTA throughout the process here, multiple people, and I feel like they really had Steve's best interest at mind. I really do. I truly, and there's nobody harder on tech guys than this guy. I promise. Nobody, right? I am very vocal, and the conversations I had, they were on the phone with Todd and with Steve, and they were actually gonna drive to Dark Heads, but they ended up talking to somebody in the tech department there, and they're like, no, you know, you have specific gauges that Dart sent, and they didn't meet the criteria, and gonna have to rule it illegal. And I will say this, you know, anybody out there that's like, Steve Stewart's a cheater, that's bullshit. I can tell you right now, I believe 100% that Steve Stewart had absolutely zero idea that there was anything wrong with that. There's no way. Nobody can convince me otherwise. I'm not saying his car owner didn't know. I'm not saying he did. Okay, I don't know that. There's gonna, as with any time there's somebody DQ'd, there's so much freaking he said, she said type shit going on that we may never know the exact truth, right? You know, Adams built the motor, and Todd's adamant that he thought it was legal, and you know, there's a lot to it. I don't know. I may never know, but I will say this: I don't believe Steve Stewart had anything to do with this, other than driving the race car.
And I don't, just a rumor on the street I've heard. So just wondering if you heard anything along these lines. Is it Todd from Adams Automotive? I heard he had other cylinder heads purchased from Dart that he was willing to send to Wagaman, something along the line saying, hey, this is how I'm getting them. I don't know if there's any truth to that.
That was kind of some of the conversations that were had, and yeah, the Wagaman, of course, when we refer to Wagaman, that is tech director. He crossed his T's. He called Dart heads, and they're like, we wouldn't just send these out as a stock Dart head. That would not happen. There's not a planet that would happen on. So somewhere along the line, either they got them machined that way from Dart, or they machined them in house that way, or whatever it happened. Right? I hope. I really hope. I really, really hope that. Boy, this is a tough one, right? Because if you're Steve, you're racing for a guy, right? And you're like, boy, as a driver, you're like, boy, I hope that Adams just did this and my car owner knew nothing about it, right? I don't know, man.
That car owner's won 1 million races in his life too.
he has. That may be the case. We'll never know the answer to that. I mean, maybe. I mean, I'm not saying engine builders haven't done this. There has been. I'm not saying Todd did this at Adams, but all I can say is this: if you have an Adams motor, I would be very leery about running the next couple races. I would want to make sure that I had my shit checked out, because if he's just randomly putting these heads out there, that would be a bad look. I have a hard time believing that would be the case. I don't know, unless he thought it was legal, right? I mean, unless he's like, look, I found a gray area here, and maybe he felt in his heart of hearts that I feel like I'm doing this according to what the rule book says, and there's no clearly defined rule here. Maybe he felt that way. I don't know. Again, there's so much speculation when somebody gets disqualified. I just hate it for the kid. I hate it for Steve Stewart, everybody involved with him, because he's passionate, loves racing. This is a big deal to him. You're gonna lose 2 track championships over this, because you lose all your points, you lose your track championships. 7,500 to win the 50th annual Red Clay Classic on your home turf. That's a tough one. That's a tough one right there. So yeah, that's and people are like, well, he had a vendetta against Steve Stewart. That's why he put the money up. Well, no offense, Steve Stewart. There ain't nobody on planet Earth that was going to be like, Sobraski starts second row. Fuck, Stewart's going to win this from 8th row. I'm sorry. Nobody thought that was going to be the case, right? I mean, not that he's not fast there. He sure is, but Shane Sobraski had like the one time in his life where stepping on your wiener was fortuitous. Not that he's illegal. I don't believe that to be the case. But Shane, in all rights, I thought was going to win that race, and he kind of got mixed up in lap traffic there and grabbed the brakes and ended up getting turned around. And holy shit, were people texting me about a conspiracy theory there? He spun out on purpose so he didn't get texted. I'm like, come on now, what are we talking about, right? So, I mean, I have so many messages out there that I just kind of look at and I'm like, no, I'm not. No, we're gonna pass. But
yeah, no, that's just stupid.
So Dexton Cook ends up winning the race, and Kurt Myers came from the B main to ultimately finish second. He got third, he got second. So there was a shit ton of passing.
20th to second.
Yeah, 20th to second. So that there was, and it was 20th to third, and Stewart had started 15th. So there was a lot of passing to be had. Super stock racing was a banger. It was a good race. There was passing to be had all over. Tough break there for Steve Stewart. Speaking of Nebraska, I would say the Donkey Award of the week might be to the guy that I heard a guy is doing a career change. So Bert, did you know Todd Frank's got Service Masters, right? That's what he does, like Service Masters.
Yes.
I
Yes.
heard he's selling all those Service Masters. He's gonna drive for Swift.
Okay.
Did you see what he did?
I did not see what he did.
He literally ripped the whole front cap off the freaking camper on Sobraski's pit guy's camper, like smashed it with his hauler. It sounds like he's gonna go good for it, but it's like, Todd, like you've been doing this a while. Like, yeah, not a good deal. Yeah, yeah, he destroyed shit in the pit area. So Sobraski,
Was this before the races even started?
I think so. I think it was.
Okay.
It was, yeah. So Sobraski's week, he spins out leading the super, shells a motor in the mod, has somebody spin out in front of him in the late model heat, and then he gets KO'd by the last place car and just about rolls over, right? And then the camper for his pit guy gets destroyed. Sobraski's got to be like, I am fucking glad that weekend is over, because that was not a 7A type of week up there.
Sounds like 2 or 3 wins this weekend.
Yeah, that's pretty good odds. Modified race. So the Hermantown Hammer flat out dominated the race with like a 2017 car, 17 or 18. So his car is like 7 or 8 years old, and he stopped. Yeah, yep, 1000% talked. Me and Chad Larson went down, talked to him for an hour. He's like, yeah, 17 or 18. That modified is. Yep.
That is not the conversation him and I had.
Yep. That's an older car. So that's the conversation we had down there. So he stomped him. Might be updated. Probably, I'm sure it's updated. But he throttle stomped him. When's the last time that you saw Daryl Nelson on the roof of a race car?
How about never?
I'm like, all the health issues he had, right? He's not moving around quite as good as he did. I asked him, I'm like, Daryl, did you ever think that getting down was going to be a challenge? He goes, once I got down, I'm like, that was probably. He goes, I saw you see Cade do it all the time. He goes, but he's not even 20, so that's probably a little easier for Cade, right?
Oh my God.
And when he got on top of the car and he went to jump down, we're like, oh God, that looks like it hurts. That don't look like it's going to be good. But he was super emotional. The best race of the night there wasn't for the lead, though, it was for second. Belfi had looked like a pretty commanding lead on third place. And where did he start? 10th? He started back a ways.
I don't know if I have it in my notes here anywhere, but
I had messaged him the week before. I'm like, we were talking about alphabetical order. He's like, no, that's bullshit. I'm like, well, you pass the most cars all the time. He goes, well, I don't want to make it that hard. Well, he did again. He had to start like 10th, I believe, in the feature, and he drove up to third. He got to second for a hot minute. Yeah. And then Belfi got back up on the wheel and got by him. And Belfi must have the most bridesmaid finishes at the Red.
I think he said he's got 4 or 5.
Yeah, that pays pretty good. Not so bad.
That's freaking awesome.
I gotta wonder though. I just gotta ask, right? Does he like just the extra money? Because I mean, we all do, or it's kind of like wearing a dress. I don't know. What do you think?
So let me ask you this: did the bridesmaid get more than the winner
in the Midwest mods?
Only class was the Midwest mods.
Yeah. I think Jody looks kind of pretty in pink. I don't know. What do you think? I mean,
he looked happy to be wearing pink for sure.
Yeah, he did for sure. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask him. Right? Maybe somebody can ask him. I don't know if
that's one of them things. It's like, and you and I have had this conversation. It's like, God, how can you be so happy for your buddy to win? It's like I, and I get it. If I can't win, I suppose I hope my buddy wins. But God, dang it, he seemed happier that Daryl won than he would have if he had won.
Daryl's one of his childhood heroes. So
and he's all of our childhood heroes, right?
Yeah, but it's like, dang, you want to win, but he knew it was That's what I'm kind of wondering. I mean, I don't know if it was just money, right? Because nobody races for money. I think I'm just going to go with this. Jody Belfi was just genuinely excited to wear a dress. That's my take on it. I'm not really sure. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I feel like there might be something to that. I'll have to ask him this week. All right.
I have a feeling he wants nothing to do with the dress in Ogilvy.
Maybe, maybe not. I mean, if depends. We'll have to see if we can talk him into a dress in Ogilvy. Maybe it'd be a regular thing. I'm not really sure. We're gonna have to find out on this. We're gonna have to find out. Late model feature, Ashley Anderson starts P1. I'm like, Ashley Anderson's on the pole. It's kind of latched already. It didn't officially latch until about lap 13.
And as soon as he hits the throttle, you hear beep, beep, beep.
Yeah, Gunnar Frank jumps out to the lead. I'm like, Ashley, what are you doing? You're gonna latch down. And he got third. Still a good run. And John Cantaluz with a great second place finish. So 2 drivers in the history of the bridesmaids deal refused to wear the dress. Bert, can you name those 2 drivers?
Pat Dorr and John Canta.
Pat Dorr and John Canta. But John Canta, yeah, you probably heard it on there. But John Canta said, he goes, Tony was a little pissed at me. I wasn't gonna do that's a pretty good chunk of change. I'll put the dress on this time, he said. So he got her done this time. But great to see John Canta with a podium finish.
Oh God.
That's awesome. And but Kevin Eater called his shot. So last week when we were doing the show, I said, my pick's Ashley Anderson, right? I get a text message the next day when the show's up. Ashley Anderson ain't beating me this week from Kevin Eater.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So there's nothing better than winning the red clay other than calling your shot. And Kevin Eater's put together probably one of the best postseasons we've seen in the WISSOTA late model. What is this, 4? This is every week, right? Labor Day week, he won the Labor Day shootout. The next week, he won one night at the Northern Nationals. The next night, he won a Challenge Series race at the at Fergus Falls.
94.
The next week rained out. He didn't race, and then this week he wins the red clay. That's a fucking banger of it.
And you know what? The ones he didn't win were like thirds and fourths.
He caught Provenzino and slipped up into third. Past Provenzino for third in the Challenge Series that final week. So, congrats to all the winners. I mean, Ashton was good. Any other takeaways that you guys might have? That's a lot. That's a lot of talking on one invitational, but she was a big one over there.
I mean, you pretty much covered it all, and me and Bert just kind of sitting here along for the ride. But yeah, no, the emotion. You know, for me, the best thing I saw was Daryl Nelson on the roof. The raw emotion, watching him jump down, almost fall over, Cade catching him. Monetarily, that's the biggest win of Daryl Nelson's career, right? He's been doing this a long time. He's won a lot of races, but my God, he's kind of a part-timer now, but my God, he just finds a way to get her done at invite time. It's uncanny. Invite time, he always finds a way to win a couple.
And he was so smooth. That car rotated so well because there was no traction, no grip, there was no character in the track, no cushion, and he just was on a Sunday cruise, just roll through the corner and drive off.
And like typically, wouldn't you think that Daryl, when it's just slick, that's maybe not typically his deal. It's when there's just a patch here, a patch there, a hole here, a hole there, he finds it. Right? I mean,
I would agree. Not that he can't win on the dry
side. No, he can win on any
time. But I think Daryl Nelson, a little character on the track.
And he finds it. He finds the traction. He searches all over the racetrack, finds the traction, finds a way to get it done. And damn it, man, he just keeps getting her done. I don't want him to quit.
No, for sure. I mean, he's one of the best. I mean, absolutely. So always good seeing him. Bert, any other takeaways from what you watched at the Red Clay?
No, I mean, you did a great job of covering it. I was happy that Daryl won because I did pick him, so it helped me in the pick.
I think you're the only one.
So
a bunch of us had beer fly in that one, and he had a good run, but not quite good enough to get us a point. So before we jump in, I got a couple other WISSOTA specials here that happened. Give a quick little recap. I didn't watch as much from these races, of course, as I did from Ashland because I was in Ashland and there's no cell phone service in Ashland, so you can't multitask up there very good. But a quick shout out here to Brad Parson Soil and Egg Solution. So if you're in western Minnesota, the Dakotas, you're in farming, harvest time is here, people are making money, You want more, you want higher yields? You want to make more money? Get the right stuff in those spray packages. Now, you might feel like you have a pretty good spray package already, but why not give a guy a chance that's part of the racing community, been doing this for several years, has all the data? Why not give Brad a call at 320-219-3542 to learn about all the products he has? And why not take a parcel of land and be like, you know what, let's do our own testing. Let's see if we can make what we already think is good, but you can always get a little better. That's what racing's all about, right? You might think you're fast, but eventually you want to get a little bit better. Well, that's what he has here. You might think you're making money. You might think you have good yields, but why not try to get a little better? Call Brad Parson, give him a call and see if he can help you out.
Do not rest on your laurels. Always got to try to get better.
Exactly. So Lou's Madtown Showdown, a race that I've been to a few times. Actually got to announce there a couple years back. One of my favorite tracks over in western Minnesota, Madison, Minnesota. So they had a double header over there. I was kind of surprised Blake Adams went there as good as he is. I got to be honest. I wanted to see Blake Adams at the red clay where the money was, but he was not, is what it is. But Brady Gertis getting it done in the modifieds there. Travis Scott, night number in the supers. Blake got it done in the Midwest mods. Ryan Flotten, a quick shout out to him. 12th to 2nd in the Midwest mods. He has put together a fantastic season. Like, he's on the podium every single night. Shout out there to Flotten. Justin Vogel doubling up, the old Wolverine doubling up in the street stocks. Boy, guys, he was off to such a slow start. I kept saying, knock, who's there? 872. That's because he couldn't win a race early, but he's been good as of late. Another shout out here. You're familiar with Matt Gilbertson, right?
Yep.
Late model driver. He ran mods over from Montevideo area. Well, his son now, I think he's got to be 15, 16-year-old. Parker Gilbertson, he doubled up in the Gen X late model, so he's kind of put together a second half of the season that's been pretty solid. Going to be fun to see him transitioning. I think he's going to run the Gen X again next year, but he's not too far away from doing exactly what Kate Nelson's going to be doing, transitioning from the USRA late models to the WISSOTA late models. Parker at Gilbertson, I believe, is going to race probably another year or two in the Gen X, and then he'll transition into the late models as well. So Matt Gilbertson's won a ton of races.
Incidentally, you talked about Cade. He made the show down there in Ashland, right? And kind of finished mid-pack.
Yeah, he and it lapsed up on lap 13, right? So everybody kind of got in line, and I don't know where he finished, just outside the top 10, but yeah, but he made the show. I mean, shit, there was a shit ton of cars there to make it in. And with time trials, it wasn't because he drew good.
Right.
Time trials, qualified well, made the feature. So yeah, Cade Nelson did good. Brian Hobbin, he won the mods night 2. Headkey won in the super stocks. Ryan Flotten, who we mentioned, he won Midwest mods on night number 2. And then we mentioned Vogel Gilbertson. And then your national point leader, got a question for you on this. Your national point leader, Tony Jensen, getting it done night number 2 in the Hornets. Okay. National championship is clinched. 2 races left. Okay. So Bert's already answering. There's 2 races. So this weekend he can go to the fall classic at Ogilvie, which is a good paying show, a lot of cars, a lot of people. And then next week he can go to Fergus for the Gopher State Showdown, or up to Hibbing for the Saturday show for the Hot Hit Nationals. Hornets, man, it seems like every fucking time they tech them things, they're like, this is illegal or that's illegal or this is illegal. It's like, the car, you just don't know. I don't know enough about them things to be confident that it's.
Did they only have one show in Madison for the Hornets?
William Lang won night number 1.
Okay, and how did? Because I know Rauner was there too, right?
Yeah, he did. I think he was in the top 3 both nights. He might have got second both nights. Second.
Okay. What did Jensen do the first night? I didn't see.
He wasn't in the podium. I know that.
Okay.
Not on the podium. But it's latched. He cannot lose. The The other thing is this: there's a car claim. There's a car claim in Hornets. So you can go to a track if you race that track twice. If you finish 6th to 12th, I think it is, you can pay $2,500 and walk up. You got to do this right. I think there's a select time right at the end of the race or whatever. 6th to 12th, you can claim the car of the top 5 driver. The driver gets to keep their seatbelt, and fuel cell.
Wow.
I'm like, so
that's new. I've never heard that before.
I'm like, there is, Bert, I'll give me your thought. You're shaking your head over there. Would you go?
I knew where you were going with this, and yeah, I'm shaking my head. If it's clinched, you don't race. You don't risk it.
No, I wouldn't either.
My guess.
People might say, "Oh, he only stayed home because he's cheating." No, he's staying home because he's smart. Is what he should do. I don't know if he will, but I told him, I said, if it's me, I do one of two things. I stay home. I go there without my car and I hang out with all my buddies and do that. Or I literally call up Justin Pagonis and I say, Pogo, you don't live too far from me. I want you to come over, start at the front, go to the back. You've texted a million times. He wins he's in the top 3 every night, right? So he's been texted plenty. I think he's more than likely confident there. But I'd be like, I want my shit 1,000,000% tech, because all it takes is somebody to come there and be like, I'm going to tear you down, and you have a whole nother deal like Steve Stewart. Steve Stewart didn't expect to be found illegal. You don't want to lose a national championship over that. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
My guess is he's racing in Ogilvie.
Probably. It's his home track.
But I don't think he'll go anywhere else after that.
Yeah, maybe not. I think when I talked to him, it sounded like he's that, you're a young kid. You're like, fuck it. I want to race. I want to go race. Yeah, I think he's probably going to go to Fergus. I wouldn't, but I don't know. That's pretty risky. Risky right there.
Yeah, I don't want to go just because I don't want to tear my whole freaking car apart or.
Right. I
can go there and have a good time and not have to tear my car apart.
Yeah, true enough. So 2 more invitationals happened. Sheridan, Wyoming had a doubleheader. Did not get to watch, but really quickly on that one, Jeremy Meerhopper, one of the most talented guys in the state out there, he's a really good driver. He doubled up in the Midwest mods.
He is hotter than a pistol.
Yeah, he is. Rocket Rob Petroff, he doubled up in the street stocks out there. And then Dustin Holtquist kind of put the seal on the deal in the Wissota Mod 4 division and doubled up in Sheridan, Wyoming as well. The other one is a race that I've attended a couple times. You were at one with me. We went out there racing against Andy Don, the Winter Nationals over at the Brown County Speedway in Aberdeen. Did either of you get to watch anything from Brown County at all?
I followed a little of it. I didn't get to watch any of it.
Yeah, late model winners, Kent Arment, night 1, Chad Becker, night 2. Modifieds, Lucas Rodine, night 1, Superman, Mike Stearns, night number 2. Super Stocks, Austin Arbogast and Stuart Shipke, they were your winners. Trevor Nelson, who made the trip to Ashland, had like the worst heat possible, and he actually made the trip out back to Aberdeen for night 2, and he DNF'd there too. So I think his fun meter on the weekend was massively pegged. Scott Hansen and Brennan Waite in the Midwest mods, and then a last lap pass. I did see part of this clip. Johnny Carter, driving somebody's 77 car, made a last lap pass to pass Cole Gressef to win on night 1. Trey Hess, the king of second place finishes, got it done on night number 2. So Ferland Sheridan, so he's got like a 57 Chevy looking deal or whatever. He took a hell of a roll down the front straightaway 6-7 times. I believe he's okay, but boy, hell of a roll there for Ferland Sheridan. So before we jump into some national stuff, because I know you guys watched Lucas Oil this weekend, shout out to Fastlane Motorsports and Powder Coating. Got to visit with Chris up there up in Ashland. So home of the Galloper chassis. They do custom powder coating, fabricating, sandblasting. They're the trackside vendor at a number of tracks, the #1 sponsor of the Fastlane Northland Superstock Series. Just a great group of people up there in Ashland. If you need parts, safety equipment, tires, whatever it may be, give them a call up in Ashland at Fast Lane Motorsports and Powder Coating. So Bert, why don't you take it away on this? So Lucas Oil Dirt Lane models went to Brownstown, CJ Rayburn Memorial, and then the Jackson 100 night number 2. The first of 5 points races for the Lucas Oil Chase for the championship. Going into it, Ricky Thornton Jr., Jonathan Davenport, Hudson O'Neill, and
Devin Moran.
Devin Moran was 3rd going into it, I believe. I think
Him and Huddy were tied.
Were they tied? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So so they were tied going in. Give me your takeaways on the week. Either one of you. What do you got on Lucas Oil?
Well, it was definitely not a good weekend for Superman. First night he was leading the feature, and he had a tire going down, so he had to pit. And it wasn't a good weekend for Huddy either, because RTJ turned him in the first night, turned him in the feature. And I mean, when you have 2 of the 4 cars competing for the championship and one turns the other, it's not a good deal. I didn't hear any of Huddy's comments afterwards, so I'm not sure how upset he was. Maybe Changa heard something.
I saw some Ricky Thornton Jr. comments online after that one. That's what I saw.
So, but yeah, I mean, they're hugging the bottom, and RTJ went a little bit lower and just drove into his fender and turned him. At first I wasn't sure if he turned him or what, but then they showed the replay and he turned. I mean, I don't think he did it on purpose, but I mean, he definitely turned him.
Changa.
Well, and like he said, okay, so Davenport gets a flat leading the first night. He night 2 wasn't there contact with Moran where JD winds up spun out, goes to the back. And that was a racing deal, 50-50, 2 guys fighting for one spot, and they barely touched. I mean, they barely touched, and JD went around, and unfortunately,
he got back up to 6 though.
He did get back up to 6. He salvaged the night, but I mean, it's down to a 2-horse race now. I didn't realize we were playing monster trucks. I mean, Thornton kind of tried to drive over the top of Huddy, and he's probably still pissed off. He lost his ride to Huddy there last year, but no, I mean, in all seriousness, that's a tough deal. But hey, it is what it is. It's a 2-horse race now. With 3 races to go, there would have to be a lot of unfortunate things that happened to Thornton for either of the 3rd or 4th place guys to get back in this deal. So, boy, I tell you, what could have been a whole lot of fun just seemed to lose its luster in a hurry, I guess.
It's kind of a one-man race, right? Because I mean, after this, Thornton's got an 80-point lead. That's kind of a bunch.
Well, I mean, it didn't grow. I mean, he didn't grow it any over Moran. It was 80 to start, still 80, but 3 races to make up 80. It's the way the Lucas points go, you can gain it, but I mean, it's about, 80 points is roughly 10 positions in Lucas.
Something like that. Yeah.
He needs to go and win. The end of the day, he needs to go and win. This weekend, you get the Woo guys out of the mix, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them top 4 guys be the top 4 guys. Shep seems to be running a little better lately, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely a 1.5 car race at this point.
So night 1, it was Nick Hoffman, Brandon Shepard, Devin Moran, RTJ, Garrett Alberson. Night 2, Ricky Thornton Jr., Devin Moran, Bobby Pierce, Carson Ferguson, and Turbo Tyler Erb. So you look at that, I mean, you got Moran was on the podium both nights. RTJ was in the top 4 both nights. And then Jonathan Davenport ended up with a 14th and a 6th. The sour of the week had to go to Huddy, right? I mean, 22nd and 17th. It's over. He's 200. Yeah. He's 270 points out of first.
Yeah, he's done.
I mean, it's going to take a minor miracle. Mathematically, yeah, I mean, I mean, you go into Pittsburgh this week, right, for the Pittsburgher doubleheader on a big half mile.
He needs the monster truck freaking RTJ this week, or he's
Well, or maybe one of them guys shells a motor, right? I mean, that could happen on a half mile. That's been known to happen. So, and then they go to Eldora.
And Pittsburgh is RTJ, one of RTJ's best tracks too.
And JD's.
Yeah.
And JD's. But he's JD's
Moran,
a bunch of
Moran runs well there too. He finished in the top 3 both nights last year.
Right. So yeah, that's a kind of a lackluster week. The racing wasn't overly exciting there. Hunt the Front late models. They were in action this past weekend too. They're supposed to have a double header down Milton, Florida, Southern Raceway. Night number 1 rained out, and night number 2, a guy that we talked about all year long, been super solid, kind of a breakout season for him. Zach Mitchell getting it done. Dalton Cook second, Joseph Joyner third, Putnam got fourth, and then Jimmy Owens got fifth. The point race here is interesting. This is good. You got the veteran and kind of the young up and comer. 2 races to go, October 10th and 11th down at Cherokee Speedway, Gaffney, South Carolina. Jimmy Owens 2 points ahead of Zach Mitchell. Wow, that's going to be worth tuning into. You're going to want to see that. Cherokee, not always the best racing at Cherokee, right? No. But when you got a points battle that close, you got my attention. I'm in. I want to see. I want to see it. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Speaking of points battles, I mean, Changa, if you're Joey Jensen, where are you going this week?
Well, I know where he's going, but where he should be going, where he's going and where he should be going are 2 different things. He should be going to Big Sky, but that's 12 hours away. He's going to Ogilvie. And I'm going to guess, and I'm pretty sure that so is Tyler Vernon going to Ogilvie.
I would have to think so. I did talk to Tyler, and I'm like, dude, if it's me, at this point of the game, right, you've raced hard all season long, why not? Why? And at the very least, right, if Friday goes bad, hop in the truck, let's go, right? Let's go west and get one more show in. I mean, you raced all season long to get this close. I mean, I get it. It sucks.
And that's something that Vernon might do. If he goes to Ogilvie, he's going to go to Ogilvie. And if Friday goes bad, I wouldn't be shocked if he went west, 100%.
And rightfully so. Where they live,
Joey's not going west. He's staying at Ogilvie.
They should go to Ogilvie, but if Friday goes bad, if you want that national championship bad enough, make the trip. Make the trip on Saturday, and it sucks, but let's face it, neither one of them, right? Joey's got car owners, right? They can pay for the gas, not a big deal, right? Tyler Vernon, they got some good funding behind them. It's not like they're scraping money out of the couch cushions to try to figure this deal out. It's just, how bad do you want, right? And there's one more week to go after that. So, Fall Jamboree, about it for our boy Brandon Davis, putting it to the boys in the USMTS action. Of course, night 1, kind of a guy that really looked good. Joe Chisholm, he wins night 1, right? Rodney Sanders second, Davis gets third. Night number 2, Dustin Sorensen. But how about 20th to 2nd for Smoke? Joe Chisholm, right? That's a run. That's a hell of a run. Terry Phillips got third. Terry Phillips had a good weekend. 3rd place on night 2, and he got 4th in the big show. So the big show, right, the main event for the Featherlight Fall Jamboree at the Deer Creek Speedway, one of the biggest mod races in our area. Brandon Davis from 7th. Reese Solander. So Dano last week said, boy, this guy here, Reese Solander, is not a bad pick. He's pretty good. He wasn't wrong. He got 2nd, runner-up finish at the Fall Jamboree. That's a good one. And Jim Chisholm getting 3rd. So did not get to watch much of it because, like I said, I was up in Ashland and I just did not. But shout out Brandon Davis. That's a big win. Shout out to Joe Chisholm. I don't know if Joe broke or whatever where he finished on night 3, but the first 2 nights were good for him. Did you guys watch any sprint car action this weekend? High Limits or World of Outlaws?
There was a lot going on.
I watched both of the High Limit features.
Well, give us a little rundown there, Bert. Bridgeport night 1, Path Valley night 2.
Well, Bridgeport was only 10 laps, 10-lap feature because rain came Danny Sams was declared the winner after only 10 laps were completed.
Is that his first? Is that his first high limit win? Had to been, right?
It might have been. I'm not
I don't
sure.
recall Danny Sams at number 24, and I don't recall him winning a high limit feature. He may have, but I'm gonna guess probably not.
And then Path Valley, that's the shortest track that High Limits races at this year. And the drivers need to practice driving on little bull rings. It was a
Not Dale Blaney.
it was a caution fest. They didn't even have 5 laps in. There were so many cautions that they went to single file restarts with not even 5 laps completed. And then a caution came out after they completed 7 laps, and then they threw a red flag for a fuel stop because to complete 7 green flag laps, they were counting. They ran a total of 47 laps, including the caution laps. So they did a fuel stop. After that, then they kind of tamed down, and they were able to keep going. But Tanner Thorson won that race. But yeah, that was a caution fest.
Well, and didn't Rico wind up upside down, and
Yes.
Reitzel ended up wrecking, and
Yeah. Rico
Sweet kind of got himself back in the mix with like a 6th place finish or something.
52 points back. Only has 5 races to go. 52 it's doable. He's still in striking at 52 with 5 shows remaining. That is doable. So yeah, not the weekend Rico was looking for. He got
Rico
5th night 1 and upside down night 2.
Rico's, he just went over on his side. Some car spun in front of him, and then there was a car next to Rico as they were approaching the cars that spun, and their back. Rico kind of jumped the back tire of the other car and landed on his side. So it wasn't a violent rollover, but still, he had to go to the pits and whatnot. I think that's when they threw the red flag for the fuel stop.
Okay.
Of course they did. Of course they did. Yes. World of Outlaws, Millstream, David Gravel, Buddy Kofoid, Logan Schuhart, your top 3. Sharon Speedway, Dale Blaney, Parking and Victory Lane, Buddy Kofoid, and Sheldon Hodenschild, your top 3. The points, Gravel's 150 points ahead of Kofoid at this point. Buddy Kofoid, I think, has been the best. Gravel's been there every night too. But those two have been really, really good. I think Schuhart has 17 or 18 straight top 6 finishes, I heard.
So I was looking at this, and I had heard that on a podcast that he has 17 straight top 6s. I went back and looked. I got 14 straight top 6s, and then he had a 9th at Knoxville for one of the races. And I don't know if they weren't counting that or whatever. Maybe it was a 360 race or something. I don't know, but yeah, so he's good. But yeah, long story short, Schuhart's been good.
It might be straight World of Outlaw race.
That could be too. Yeah. So yeah, 17 straight World of Outlaw races in the top 6.
And then they fired their crew chief.
Yeah, fired their crew chief.
Yeah, consistent, but not consistently podium, right? So he hasn't been the best car. That's been Kofoid and Gravel, right? He's been solid. He's showing that he's consistent.
And Carson Macedo's always up there too.
Yeah, this weekend not so much. He didn't have a very good weekend this weekend. So you watch any NASCAR stuff this weekend, guys? Pay attention to anything that happened in the NASCAR world?
What's NASCAR?
Well, I can tell you this. I have no clue.
I did not. I just saw.
Go ahead.
Well, Chase Elliott won the. I don't even know what the sponsor is.
I gotta be completely honest with you, Bert. That is not the Chase we give a shit about. That's not we don't care about that Chase. Changa, Chase Eliason.
I didn't see that. He was the crew chief.
So Shane Van Ginsbergen, no clue who that is, right? But anyway, Chase Eliason is the main engineer for that team. Okay.
He's a road course specialist.
Okay. So there, the crew chief got suspended, and Chase Eliason, you know, he pitted for Daryl. We know the Eliason family.
It did for us
forever. Yeah, he helped us a little bit. You know, he's a good kid. I mean, one of the top shelf first class families in racing in the Northland. They got a 10th place finish. So first stint as crew chief on a NASCAR cup team, top 10 finish. Congratulations, Chase Eliason. Bert, you mentioned something about Brad Sweet. So Sweet and Rico, of course, they started High Limits.
No.
Or they took
Sweet
over.
And Kyle Larson.
Yes, my bad. Sweet and Kyle Larson.
Yeah, Kyle Larson and Sweet.
Yeah. So you said Sweet had something else going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the sprint car series though.
I think it was Narc, right?
He bought he bought the sprint car series. It's based in California, I believe. It's the main 410 sprint car series in the West.
Yeah, the Narc 410s, and that's what there's several good drivers that race in that. Sanders races that series, and so that'll be interesting. I mean, is his racing career as a driver coming to an end in the next couple of years here with his insurgence in the High Limits and the Narc 410s? And they also run Silver Dollar Speedway, I believe, down in Chico. I think they also run that, him and Kyle. That's their track down there as well.
Yeah, I think so.
In fact, and he's obviously doing, you know, bikini contests and all that as well. So
he's doing good things.
He sure is. Is his driving career coming to an end? Can we see him racing sprint cars in 3 more years? Or is he going to hang the hat up and going to be more focused on the promoting side of things?
I'm hoping
I think
he's not done. I'm hoping he's not done. He's still too freaking good. He's still one of the top 5 guys in the world, right? I mean, even when he's not even taking it 100%, you know, not 100% all in, which, you know, and I'm not, I mean, far be it for me to say he's not all in, but I mean, he's got a lot of things on his plate and it takes away, obviously. But yeah, no, that guy's too freaking good to just hang her up in the next 3 years.
Bert?
Yeah, I don't think he's done. I mean, I think he's buying these series and starting these series because he wants to make sure that sprint car racing stays strong. But I don't think he's done racing. He can still vie for championships and still be busy doing these other things, as last year and this year are proving.
So, guys, I'm watching the USRA Nationals right now at Lucas Oil Speedway in Wheatland, which is essentially USRA's version of the Wissota 100, USRA's version of the Boone Super Nationals, whatever you want to call it, right? I get it. It's a Wednesday night. Crowds are going to be like, dude, there's not 100 people in the grandstands. I mean, there's nobody there. We're in the entertainment business here, right? I mean, who are they entertaining themselves?
That's like Lucas Oil Speedway, right?
Lucas Oil Speedway.
That's one of the premier facilities in the country.
Yeah, there is nobody there. It is flat out empty at Lucas Oil Speedway. And we were talking about Wissota 100. It's like, there ain't nobody there on a Tuesday or a Wednesday they're racing. Well, it's not just Wissota. There was nobody there during the week at Boone. There's nobody there during the week at Lucas Oil Speedway for the USRA Nationals. I think, is it time that they kind of dial this shit back and they're like, look, Thursday, Friday, Saturday at most for these invitationals instead of this Tuesday stuff, Wednesday stuff. What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, the thing is, there's only so much disposable income that people have. I mean, they can't afford to go to. I mean, I don't know what they charge for admission. I'm assuming admission. Well, it's probably a little less during the week, but I mean, it's still something. And plus, you know, if you're getting hotel rooms and stuff, you know, people just don't have that much disposable income, especially if they want to go to other races, you know, throughout the year.
Correct.
So if we're at Lucas Oil Speedway tonight, right, I have to assume that there's at least close to 200 cars 190-ish, 190-ish cars there, right? If there's 200 people in the stands at $30 a head, you do the math. I mean,
Well, I talked to somebody and they say racing has become a backgate driven
Yeah.
deal. You know, so there's nobody in the stands, but if every one of these cars got a couple pit guys with them, right? You know, their family comes and they're like, we're gonna go in the pits or whatever. I mean, it's unfortunate because as a racer, I want to race in front of a big crowd. That's why we used to like going to Cedar Lake back in the day because the place was full all the time, right?
well,
You
I
want
mean,
to be
even
on
if
the
you've
big
got
stage.
1,000 people there counting the back gate, okay, 1,000 people at $30 a head, right? $30,000. You sell a few hot dogs and some beer, but is that enough to pay 200 cars?
Well, even if they have sponsors to cover the purse,
There.
right? The profitability side is one thing, right? But as
The
a racer,
liability side and
no, I'm not even talking money. Take money out of the equation, right? It is not fun racing in front of 10 freaking people. That is not fun. You get out and you're like, okay, well, I won the race. It was a hell of a race, side by side battle for the win. Nobody cares. Nobody watched it. Nobody even saw it. Nobody even knows what's going on.
I guess I wouldn't even know because I always raced grassroots classes where there was nobody in the stands at the end of the night, right?
There is a little something.
I'm giving my speech and I rehearsed it every freaking day in the shower and it was perfect. It was impeccable, but nobody
Hey,
heard it.
I tried. I watched you. I watched all of your races. So that's all that matters. I watched
Well,
the 31.
I just want to state, I mean, because you made the statement that it's becoming more of a backgate. I mean, that's definitely true. I mean, how much does it cost to get into the pits at these tracks now? I mean, you're looking at 30, sometimes 30, you know, if it's specials, it's even more than that.
40.
Right.
Probably
Yeah.
40 down here. Yeah.
Well,
And
let's
I
be
mean,
honest.
when I started in MJ's pit crew in 1990, pit pass at Shawano Speedway was $8.
Really?
Yes.
The
And
times have changed.
I don't know how much admission was for spectators, but say it was even $5. You know, now they charge 12, so it went from 5 to 12. Where now a pit pass though is from 8 to 30. So I mean, they keep raising the price on the racers before they do the spectators.
And
So
the real and another question is this, right? I mean, racing events, right? People that are promoting, whether it's tracks, series, specials, whatever it may be, when you look at the grandstands, yeah, the first thing that comes to mind is profitability. How do we pay for this event? But a person's also got to sit back and be like, what do we have to do to make it more entertaining? So much so that people actually are like, this is a destination. I want to be there. The Red Clay Classic, okay, and this is not a bang on the Red Clay Classic. The racing was okay, right? The late model feature was awful. Most of the late model racing wasn't very good, but most of the Midwest mod racing was, and the super stock racing was, and a lot of the mod racing was good. So they had some really good races and they had some that bad. Just the way racing works, right?
that's the way racing is, right?
Yep. But the fact is, people weren't going, and they still don't to this day. You don't go to the Red Clay Classic because you're excited to go see a good race. You're going there for the culture. You're going there for what happens the night before at the Neighborly, the post-race vibe every single night, Friday night and Saturday night, and all the people in the atmosphere. That's why you go to the Red Clay Classic. These other races just haven't figured that out. I talk to people, and I haven't been to the Wissota 100 for a while, and I guarantee there's no post-race shit at Lucas Oil Speedway. But I can tell you this: they said you had to like search and search and search at the Wissota 100, and it don't matter where the race is at. You had to search for somebody to go talk to at 1 o'clock in the morning. They said there's nobody out and about, and that's the racing is not going to survive. I watched a little clip with Gordy Gundaker. He's got his own podcast. I don't know what it's called, but they had a clip, and they said Gordy said the one thing who hangs out the longest in the pits, right? Gordy does. Gordy's like, people are not going. You can watch a race online, and albeit it's not as good online as it is in person. That's fine, but it's the fan bases that are built by sticking around after the races. Do you know who got the 2 biggest pops um at the Red Clay out of the whole weekend, Changa?
The
I
two
want you
biggest what?
it between all the heat races and the features, right? Who had by far the 2 biggest pops in the crowd, cheers, fans going bonkers? I want you to think about what we just talked about. I want you to think hanging out after the races, having beers with the fans, and all that.
We're thinking Ashland people.
Maybe.
You know, I mean, if I was going to think who the fans are like the most excited for, I would think Kevin Eater and Steve
That's
Stewart.
one. Kevin Eater, Dave Flynn.
Well, and you know, so if we were in Superior, it's Dave Flynn and what's his buddy there in the Midwest?
Ryan Savoy.
Yeah, them
Ryan.
two pit next to each other. They're
Yep.
the last 2 guys in the pits every night. They're gonna sit out there. They're gonna hang out with everybody. They're super nice people. Everybody can come over, have a beer with them. Your kid
Yep.
can sit in their car, take a picture. You know, but you're right. Dave Flynn and Ryan Savoy in Superior, and I'm not surprised that down there it's the same way.
So that's important, right? You got to have that post race vibe, Bert.
Well, that's one thing I always enjoyed about going to the Punky was Friday night they had the dance, although nobody really danced, but you'd go into the ice rink area and they sold beer in there and all the drivers, you know, a lot of the drivers would go in there, fans would go in there and everybody just mingled.
Absolutely. I
You know,
remember those days as well.
you know, something you were talking about a little while ago about being backgate driven, right? You know, I look back to when I was a pitman and I'm going there, and you know, back when we were racing, the 71A was trying to win races. We're paying $20 a night to get in the pits, right? And I didn't get to see a race all friggin' night until Ryan, like, you know, 10 minutes before his feature, he'd like, get up here, look at the track. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Are we doing the right thing? Yeah, no, maybe. And then I mean, literally just covered in dirt. Didn't see a race other than his heat race. Didn't see another race till his feature. And
You
then
saw the heat before mine.
well, maybe because I'm trying to look at are we doing the right thing, right? The heat race before his, the feature race before his, and then once he pulled in, you know, we get the, you know, we'd win, we'd give the high fives, pour a little, you know, pour the cooler on him, and then get on the top of the trailer and maybe watch the pier stocks or something. But yeah, I mean, the guys in the pits, they're getting charged up the wazoo and they're working their balls off. And God, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's worth it necessarily. I mean, for me, it was because I'm a competitor and I like to win. But
Here's a funny story because when I first got into MJ's pit crew, you know, I'd be talking to my friends and stuff, and then you know, about paying to get into the pits, and people who didn't understand racing, and you have to pay to get in. You guys are putting on the show. Well, you know,
right.
but you know that's kind of the mentality of people who don't understand racing. You know,
Right.
they don't realize that the people in the pits are paying more than what the spectators are.
Yeah.
You want an unpopular comment that's probably going to hurt some feelings?
Sure.
If the product was entertaining enough, the participants would not have to pay.
Fair enough. That's why professional sports don't pay to get in.
I'm just saying, I love racing. You guys love racing, right? We're all racing people. But for whatever reason, overall, the product is not entertaining enough to get enough people in the grandstands to consume the entertainment, right? To where they have to overcharge all the people putting on the show because there's not enough people that are there.
Here's a question. Here's a question. NASCAR Cup teams pay to get in?
I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know.
I guess I don't know.
I'm going to guess not.
Yeah, I am not sure on that. That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a research project for Bert for next week.
We'll give that one to Bert for sure.
So Bert, you mentioned really quick. So, wait, none of us you speak of entertainment value. There's nothing less entertaining than a monster, huge, way oversized half mile track.
Well, that was bigger than a half mile.
Yeah, they called it a half mile, but it's more like a 5/8 to me. What's going on over in West Virginia, Bert?
Well, apparently they've shortened the track now, and the World of Outlaws are going to be have 2 shows there next year. So that'll be interesting to see. Well, it's funny because today I saw somebody post on Facebook. I don't know who posted it, but they said that Lerner. I think it's isn't the hillbilly at Lernerville now?
Yeah.
They said,
Yep.
nothing against Lernerville, nothing against Eldora, but now that West Virginia Motor Speedway's been shortened, bring the hillbilly down there and bring the dirt track world championship down there.
I'm here to tell you that place was jam packed in the grandstands when they brought racing back a couple years ago, but the product was so terrible that it just fizzled out and died. But making that, I think that's a good move. West Virginia Motor Speedway going back to its downward.
Do they have the pit area to bring what goes on in Charlotte there? Because I'd like to see Charlotte go somewhere too.
I don't know if it's quite that big. So it's not the facility Charlotte has for sure. Speaking of big events, I did get my tickets for the Wild West Shootout, so I'm jacked up for that. Yep, I'm gonna go down there with my dad. Might try to get my daughter down there for a weekend. Got a group of us heading down, so tickets went on sale a couple of days ago. Super excited to get down to Casa Grande, Central Arizona Speedway down there. So now let's jump into we're gonna jump into Natty Trivia here, but first a quick shout out to our boys over in Rush City, Minnesota, East Central Sports. So Mac and the gang over in Rush City, Minnesota, they are your #1 source for pit bikes, kids ATVs, golf carts, Toro lawnmowers, and a whole lot more. Changa, by the way, they now allow golf carts at ABC Raceway. No four-wheelers, no side-by-sides, but golf carts are allowed there. So that's kind of a cool thing. So you ought to get a pretty pimpin' one for next year at the Red Clay.
Well, talking about that, I'm guessing Mac wasn't there.
I didn't see Mac there. No, Mac was
I was disappointed because I saw our boy Vandy didn't go. He decided to go mop up on the 4 freaking people we never heard of at Cedar Lake. So that one was a little disappointing.
Wasn't he there night 1? He was there night 1.
Was he? Because he won at Cedar.
Yeah, I think he was there night 1, and then he just got buried with a bad draw and didn't make the show and said, screw it, I'm leaving.
All right, fair enough. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I think he was there night 1. So, yeah, East Central Sports in Rush City, let them know you heard about them on the One to Go show for a $100 discount. You can call Mac at 320-358-1994 or check them out online at www.eastcentralsports.com. So last week, Bert gave the clues. Ron Jones was the driver. I got that one right. So I'm at 10. Chong is at 4. Bert is at 1. Maybe going to double that up this week. We're not sure. But drivers we've chosen so far, David Karst, Mitch Johnson, Adam Hensel, Troy Kuyat, Tyler Peterson, Tim McMahon, Chuck Swenson, Brittany Smith, Travis Sauer, Don Eichens, Lance Matthews, John Seitz, Paul Harlstead, Chad Becker, and Ron Jones. So Chong is going to give the clues, a series of clues. Bert and I are going to try to guess which Minnesota national champion that he's referring to. 3 wrong guesses means the other person wins. So, give us some.
I finally printed off a list of all the champions, so at least I can shout out some names now.
Ryan, do you have a list?
Ahead of me, then. I don't have the list. I gotta try to do this off memory. You might get me now.
That would be helpful.
Yeah, you might get me. Bert's prepared.
All right, you guys ready?
We are.
This driver started racing in 1979. This driver won a modified national championship in 1986.
Oh, you have the list. You have the years and everything there, Bert?
John Canta.
Oh, God damn it.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
That is flat out. All right, good job.
Well, let me.
But good job.
I'm sorry. God, that sucks. I'm sorry.
Bert, for next week, I want you to remake that list without the years out there, okay? All right.
Going forward, I'll leave the years out. I'll just say this driver won a
I
National
just
championship in the mod.
copied and pasted off the WISSOTA website.
All right. So hey,
All right. I'll just keep going so you can hear the some of the
yeah,
other.
give us the other clues. So a lot of people might not know that, right? Because we think about John Cantox, again, shout out, second place finish, bridesmaid at Red Clay, but a lot of people don't realize that he ran anything else. I know he ran a super stock back in the day too, and then he won a national championship in a mod. So I only learned that a couple of years back. I completely had spaced that out. So what else you got?
What a bummer! I wish I would have freaking thought of that. I'm
Hey,
sorry.
Bert needed to get another win here. He is feeling left out.
This driver's last win was August 19th of 2023 in Ogilvie.
Okay.
Okay. He is a 3-time national champion. Let's see. Has won multiple Challenge Series titles. So that gets you to the late model side a little bit, right?
Oh.
Once had his leg broken by a trailer door.
I remember that. Yeah.
He is currently an instructor at a technical college.
I did not know that. I know he was the sheriff.
Yeah.
I know
and that's
that.
one of the clues coming up later.
I believe that he brought Tom Nesbitt to jail, or arrested him anyway.
8th clue was he finished second at this year's Red Clay Classic. Where's my 9th clue? I had him out of order because I just wrote down a bunch of stuff out of order. And I did have he was a sheriff as one of the clues.
I would have got it on that one, but you would have had it with the broken leg.
No, that's way down the list. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Well, hey, good job, Bert. Tonga said that he was going to probably just call you and give you the answer anyway. He didn't have to. All right, fair enough. So our pick'ems, so Bert, you and Governor, you and Josh, you guys tied for the win in week 39. Congratulations. So our points right now in our pick'ems, I'm at 660. Chonga's at 633, 27 points back. Bert's 1 point behind him at 632. Rainman at 620, and Governor Walls at 611, rounding out your top 5. Dano at 606, Uper 586, Coach at 562, and then Worker B and Hardy 99 tied at 551 for 9th. Then Man Bun Dan, Beefcake, and Bromance rounding it out. So this week we're picking races. So World of Outlaw Sprint Cars, it's the National Open this weekend out at Williams Grove. Prelim night number 1, but it is a full show. 75 grand to win on night 2. World of Outlaw late models, Humboldt, Kansas, and 81 Speedway in Park City, Kansas. Falls Frenzy, Mars, UMP dirt car late models and modifieds, a doubleheader at Hashtag Falls, Fairbury, Illinois. Big Sky Speedway out in Billings, Montana. They have their final doubleheader of the year out in Montana. One of the final WISSOTA races of the 2025 season. The Pittsburgher 100, we talked about that doubleheader over in Pittsburgh. Lucas Oil Dirt late models. The Summit USRA Nationals. We're picking modified stock cars and B mods. Their finales on Saturday, and then we're picking the finale for the Ogilvie Fall Classic for the late models, mods, super stocks, Midwest mods, street stocks, and mod 4s. We're not going to pick the Hornets in the pure stocks. Probably could have, but we're not going to. I will say this. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag because there hasn't been an announcement yet. I'll tell you, Bert, off the show. But if you're a Minnesota Wild fan, okay, if you're a Minnesota Wild hockey fan, there could be something super cool happening this weekend at the Big O. So you're gonna want to stay tuned. Watch their social media pages. I will say this: there may or may not have been somebody affiliated with the Minnesota Wild turning some laps this week at the Big O. Kind of a cool deal. I will say this too. So I did not know this. So we were wondering why Clayton Wegman hadn't been racing, right? You know, he took a hard wreck at the Big Deal mod race at Ogilvie, got a really bad concussion, and shit wasn't getting any better. And long story short, him, family members, they played hockey, he played hockey, and through different contacts, Pittsburgh, Sidney Crosby, I think it was, kind of got him in touch with Edina. In Edina, Minnesota, there's a place that has, I think it was Sidney Crosby, but Edina has like a specialist place for concussions, and he went there and had like special treatment and all that done, and it was his first race back in a while. So glad to see Clayton Wagaman back behind the wheel again. Concussions are no joke. I've had plenty. People wonder why I'm such an asshole. I blame the concussions. I've had a lot of them. That's why. But they're
Hold on. What was your excuse for before the concussions?
I probably had several. My mom probably bounced up and down a lot. Probably banged my head,
Down the stairs.
Yeah. She probably fell down the steps or whatever. But no, concussions are no joke, right? I mean, I know Ashley Merworth had one a little while back. Several racers have had concussions. I mean, I struggled a couple years after that with super, super bad headaches. So glad that he's doing well now. That's that's a scary situation. So let's jump into our bold predictions. We'll do a little recap session of where we're at, and then we'll jump into our bold predictions for the week. So Bert, you had 4 come off the board. One that you mentioned here last week when it happened, but show 272, you said Donnie Schatz would not get a top 5 the rest of the year. You were incorrect. That might be his only one, though, but we'll see. USMTS, you said that Rodney Sanders would not finish on the podium. Second on night 1. I think that was his only podium. You said Nick Anvilink would finish in the top 5. Way to jinx him. He did talk to his brother for quite a while. Sounds like gonna run. Yeah, they're kind of contemplating. They haven't made a decision yet. Kind of contemplating running the Mars series in 2026. That'd be kind of a neat deal.
Yeah.
Lucas Oil Dirt Late Models, you said Devin Moran and Hudson O'Neill would each have podiums and win at least one. Nope. Moran did. Huddy not so much. So I had let's go down to Uper. Uper had 3 come off the board. He said Shane Sabraski, Bobby Pierce, Hudson O'Neill, David Gravel, Brandon Davis, and Rico would all win at least one feature this week.
Oof. You got one.
Well, he got didn't Gravel win one?
Oh yeah, Gravel did win one, yeah.
Yeah.
So
he got Gravel 2. And Brandon Davis, so he got 2. That was not good. That was a no. He said the Red Clay Classic would have over 225 cars parlayed with Midwest Mods would have 60, Supers would have 50 plus, Mods would have 45 plus, late models 40 plus. They had a record-setting 260 cars. Midwest Mods had 74, Super Stocks 59, Modified 67, and late models 60. So you got that right. Kennedy Swan makes the show and finishes on the lead lap by the skin of her teeth. She was the last car on the lead lap, and the leader was right behind her. So she got a 14th place finish, did make the show. Congratulations, Kennedy Swan. Congratulations to Uper on that one. I mean, let's face it, 14th, 67 car field, 14th ain't. That's not horrible. No. That's making the show. She was fast in the heat race too. Changa, you had 2 come off the board. Lucas Oil Dirt Late Models. You said that all of the podiums would be Lucas Oil drivers. You got sniped by your boy.
Well, I got sniped by Hoffman first.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hoffman and Pierce. Yep. Hoffman the first night, Pierce the second night. And then you said World of Outlaws sprint cars.
Yeah, I got that right.
Buddy Kofoid, Carson Macedo. The top 2 spots both nights would be those 3 drivers.
And Dale Blaney kicked my ass.
Yep, Dale Blaney got her done. I had 4 come off the board as well. Episode 273. I said the Red Clay Classic would have 5 or more Eastern Wisconsin cars. Birthday had 4. They had 4. And then along with that, I said there'd be more lates at the Red Clay than the 100. That part of it was true. And Bert would show up. I said 2 of these 3 things have to happen. Bert did not show up. So he was going to come there, Changa. until he realized that he was going to give me a point. So he turned around, went back home.
Good boy, Bert.
Yep, I think that's what happened. I
Yeah,
said that.
I was a half hour from the track, and then I can't.
And then he just came to my house and we watched it on streaming.
Yeah, you texted him, said you can't go, you can't go. I said these 4 drivers would have podium finishes. These 4 drivers would have podiums. Ashley Anderson in the late models, Jody Belfi in the mods, Tyler Vernon in the Midwest mods. Ashley Anderson got 3rd, Belfi got 2nd, Vernon got 1st, and then I had the Iron Man in the Super Stocks to get a podium, and he got a solid 10th place finish, 9th or 10th or whatever. Should have won, but I think the same thing happened there. I think somebody said, the conspiracy is you didn't want to get tore down. I think the conspiracy really is that he found out that he was going to finish on the podium and give me a point, and he kind of fucked me out of it. So
thanks, Shane.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Shane. Kind of a dickhead move there on his part.
I appreciate you.
Red Clay Classic. I said at least one of the 2nd place finisher bridesmaid money would be more than the Midwest mods. Now,
no, not more than the
more than the winner. More than the winner. And according to Uper's research, I did not research this. The Midwest mod runner-up with the bonus money made more than the winner of the Midwest mod feature. And then I also said this in the Fall Jamboree. Brandon Davis would have a better average finish than Jim Chisholm. And he did do that. So that was a yes as well. So I got 2 correct, 2 wrong. So with that said, our standings right now, we keep track of correct predictions, correct percentage predictions. Changa, you're leading the way at 25 correct predictions. Uper's at 24. I'm at 23.
Wow.
Bert is at 15. So we're close up top.
I need to start bunting again.
Yep, Bert has some work to do. In the correct percentage, though, Changa.
You passed me.
The 71A's at 41.1. You're at 39.7. Youper at 38.1. And the guy that we accused of bunting year after year after year was Bert, and he's at 27.3. So we can't pick on him for that anymore.
I think I need to bunt some more.
So we're going to make 3.
Oh, this is bullshit.
3 bold predictions here to wrap this deal up. We're going to start with Bert. We're going to go to Changa. We'll go to, I got Upers, and then we'll go to me. So what do you got there?
All right, I'm going to go to Big Sky Speedway, and we're picking Lates, Midwest Mods, and Streets. And they each have 2 a feature Friday and Saturday, correct?
Yep.
All right. So at least 2 out of those 3 divisions will have repeat winners. Both nights. We'll win both nights.
Okay. At least 2 of the 3 will have repeat winners. Okay. That's a good prediction. I like it. Changa?
Let's see. We're going to get to that page. Well, I'll take a page out of your book. I'm going to go to the Mars races. I just don't know which way I want to go with this.
And Safe Figure's going to get a top 10?
No. I'm going to go to I'm going to go to the Fairbury Fall Frenzy modified division. And I'm going to say the podium will be all a combination of Mike, Michael, Mikey, or any variation of that.
Let's go Cole Falloway. Let's go Cole Falloway. Yeah, you got
all
Mike
3
Harrison, Michael
podium
Long,
finishers
Michael
will be Mike,
Ledford.
Mikey, Michael, or some variation of that.
All right, Mike McKinney. Yeah, there's several options there for Mike's to run up front. Let's go Cole Falloway. All right, Uper's got his first prediction here. So sounds like Kid Rocket, Josh Richards, going to be in attendance over at the Pittsburgher. Josh Richards will make both A mains.
Wow.
I don't think he's eligible for any kind of provisional. He said no provisionals. But Josh Richards will make both A mains, and if one of them rains out, he'll make the A main. He'll make the A main every night.
He'll make every A main.
He'll make every A main. Yep. So my first prediction, I'm going to go to the I am gonna go to the Fall Classic at Ogilvy. We go to Ogilvy. I will say, I'm gonna do a little parlay here. Let's do a little parlay. Pat Dorr, Jody Belfi, Shane Sabraski, Jason Vandekamp.
And Sabraski in the super.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep, in the super. So Dorr, Belfi, Sabraski in the super. Midwest Mod, did I say Swearingen?
Said Vandy.
Vandy. We'll go Vandy. Yep. I was contemplating between the two. Vandy there. Jimmy Gullickson. And Dustin Holtquist. Okay. All of them will finish top 5. All of them.
Okay.
A lot can go wrong. A lot of cars. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
They all should.
That's bold.
but
That's bold.
all
Fair
6
enough.
of those drivers, top 5 finishes at the
Yeah.
Fall Classic. All right, Bert, your second one.
All right, I'm gonna go Lucas Oil, and I'll say at some point during the weekend in a heat race or a feature or B main, Huddy's gonna get revenge on RTJ and spin him out.
Oh,
that.
spin him out. Not just quarter panel him, not bank him, but actually turn him facing the wrong direction.
Sure.
Okay. And with no fault caution, RTJ is going to go to the back.
Yes.
I hope you're right.
Okay.
That would make this whole point chase. That would make it a lot more interesting if that happened.
It would. It would. All right, Changa, what is your second prediction here?
Well, I'm going to go Bobby Pierce gets off the schneid this weekend. He has a win and a podium. If both races do not happen and only one does, the one race will be the win.
Okay. Okay, so if both races happen, he'll podium both nights with one being a win, at least one being a win. And if they race one night, he will win that one night.
That's correct.
Okay. So you for second prediction, he's gonna give Donnie Schatz some love. Williams Grove National Open, Donnie Schatz will have a pair of top 10 finishes. If only one races, that'll be a top 10. So Donnie Schatz will finish top 10 in every A main that happens at Williams Grove. And PA Posse's there. High limit guys are going to be there. There's no high limit races this weekend. You got World of Outlaws going to be there. The way that Donnie Schatz's been running this year, that's definitely, I would say that's not a bunt. I got his back on that one. I am going to go. I'm going to go to the Pittsburgher 100 as well. Lucas Oil Dirt late model finishes. We're going to talk our points chasers, right? RTJ, JD, Hudson O'Neill, Devin Moran. Okay. Out of those drivers, it's going to be in this specific order on average finishes for the week, specifically all 4 of these drivers in order. Okay. RTJ, JD, Moran, Huddy.
Okay.
RTJ, JD, Moran, Huddy. That will be the order of best average finish this weekend at the Pittsburgher doubleheader. All right, Bert.
All right, I'm gonna stay local and I'll go Luxie Raceway. Benji Lacrosse will get at least one win and a podium finish. I'm assuming he'll race the modified and the stock car, so at least one feature win and a podium finish.
Okay. All right, I like it. Changa?
I'm going to go to sprint car racing. And I'm going to say Sheldon Hodenshield. His next ride will be the 18 ride vacated by a G.O.A.T. And also I heard today that Emerson Axsom's out of that ride.
Yes, I did.
And I think Corey Eliason's in that ride.
Through the remainder of the season. Yep.
So I'm going to say Sheldon will go to the 18 team, and it will be announced before the first of the year.
Okay. Okay. Before the first of the year, it'll be announced that.
Right, so I can get it on this year's.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Okay. I like it. All right. Uper has he has a Shane Sabraski rebound week. Shane Sabraski at the Fall Classic will have. He'll finish top 5 in all 3 classes: late model, super stocks, Midwest, and modified. Late models, modified, super stock. He'll have at least 2 podiums, and he'll have at least 1 win.
I like it.
So that's a good parlay there.
Okay, hold on a second. Now, when I said that one was Sheldon to the 18 ride, that doesn't mean he's going to be number 18. He's just going to that KCP
that
team.
right. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. He's going to take over that seat, whatever number they go with.
Right.
He'll take over that seat. Okay. I'm going to go national championship battles. Okay. We know late models is done. Modifieds is tight. Super stocks is basically done because it sounds like Kurt's done. Midwest mods is tight. Street stocks is done. Mod 4s is done. Piers is done. Hornets is done. Okay. So the only battles are in the open wheel cars. I believe Shane Sabraski has a 6-point deficit to Blake Adams. And I think he's kicking out. I think I saw 51, I believe it is. Okay. And Joey Jensen is 4 points back, I believe, from Tyler Vernon. And I think they're kicking out 55s. Okay. At least one of those 2 drivers
will flip it.
No, will do good enough to where it comes down to the final night. So Sabraski technically with a 58 could pass Blake. I don't think. Well, and Joey can't flip it because you can't gain 4 points in one show. So I kind of got to change.
No. Oh, you're talking this weekend.
Yeah, because they only going to race one show this weekend, one show next week. Okay.
Oh, so, couldn't they go to Hibbing and run 2?
They only got one show in Hibbing.
Just one in Hibbing, one at I-94.
I-94 is heats Friday, features Saturday.
Okay.
So Joey right now is 2 shows deficit. Okay, he can't catch him with one good show. Shane is 1 show deficit right now. Shane is gonna. I'll just say this: they both narrow the gap. How's that? They both narrow the gap.
This week they'll both narrow the gap.
They'll both narrow No. I'm backpedaling here. Sorry.
Blake's going west.
At least one of those drivers narrows the gap.
Oh, that's a bunt.
That's not a bunt.
Shane Sabraski's going to go to Ogilvie and frickin' narrow the gap.
Well, Blake ain't going west because there's no frickin' modifieds at Big Sky.
Okay. Well, then for sure Shane's narrowing the gap.
Shane's got to run good to narrow the gap. Shane's got to be fast.
He needs a 52 to narrow the gap.
He didn't get a 52 last weekend, did he? So he didn't get a 52 last weekend. Just saying, didn't get 52 at the 100.
You feel good about saying Shane will get a 52?
I do not. I think that if I had to put in order Atkinson, Belfi, Clayton Wagaman, JT Johnson, Dave.
No, your conscience is okay saying, hey, Shane might get a 52 or better. Come on.
I'll narrow the gap by this. I'll put a number on his. Either Joey will narrow the gap to where he's within 1 show of winning it, or Shane will narrow the gap to within 3 points. How's that?
Fair enough.
All right. Fucking talking me into losing this. One of those 2 or both of those things will happen, but there will be a national point battle going into the final weekend of the Wisconsin.
And I hope you're right.
I
hope you're right on both of them. I hope there's 2 national point battles.
I don't. I'm a Shane Sabraski guy.
Well,
I like Shane.
Fair enough. We want Blake to win. I get it.
Yeah. I want Blake to win this weekend.
It's way more fun to watch if there's.
It is. And so it's gonna be a battle, but we'll see what happens here this weekend. them Midwest mod guys, I'm telling you right now, if they want the Natty bad enough, one of them or both of them should be heading west. And they just should. It just, yeah. And then they'll get full car count out there. But how bad would it suck to drive all the way west and lose to Mario Berger anyway?
Or well, and you might have a liker or two there.
Right, right. Yeah, so it's not a gimme. It's not a gimme going out there for sure. So, all right, boys. Always fun chatting racing with you. WISSOTA season, couple weeks left, coming down to the wire. Bert?
Before we go, we forgot to talk about this during the Red Clay Classic thing. What's with your spiderweb shirt?
Fair enough.
Huh? Oh,
Fair
James
enough.
Trantina love right here. You picked this up for me,
So
right?
I did hear, rumor has it, Bert, that Aho is making a comeback, and that is his primary sponsor.
Collins Brothers Towing, 71A car, absolutely. We worked out the deal this week. Yep, James, 1000%. He says, keep your friends close, your enemies closer. I don't know if I'm an enemy anymore. We're pals now. We've been talking good about James. He ran good at the 100. Haven't picked on him in a while. It's more fun. He gets pissed off though. So maybe James can do something kind of angry this week or whatever, so we can, get back to the way, I guess, the way it has been. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I got the Trantina, right? Don't get caught in the web. Got Tarantula. We got her. We got her right here. So, all right, boys, watching some USRA stuff, right? It's gonna be a late night. They're doing C features right now, so it's gonna be a late night there at Lucas Oil Speedway. I got to get back on the road because I gotta go deliver this load yet tonight. It's like freaking 10:30 here in Georgia, and then I got a couple-hour drive to where I pick up my load tomorrow. So, thanks for tuning into the one to go show. We'll see you guys next week.
Good night, guys.